Hello everyone. This is Pinkie, and I have a new video, the latest update for you on the attack from New Orleans, Louisiana. You know, there was a terrorist attack. Some are not calling it that, but that's exactly what I think it is. Okay? Attack that happened on New Year's Eve in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, where up where 15 people are unalived and over 35 people injured or was hurt during this attack. Let me just say, before we get started, let me just go ahead and get the house rules out of the way so I can continue. Welcome to the Pink House. And can everyone go ahead and hit that like button for me to keep me in the algorithm and subscribe to my channel? Thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get to the matter at hand. All right. Now on New Year's Eve, December the 31st, okay, of 2024, everyone was celebrating, including myself. I was doing a live and we was bringing in the new year 2025 with all my members and my subscribers and everyone that love to support my channel. We was bringing in the new year, and then in New Orleans, there was a man by the last name of Jabbar, 42 years old from Texas, decide to make a decision that he want to harm other people, take their lives. I don't know why, but that's what happened. Okay? And you can go back and watch my previous videos because on New Year's, no, on January the 1st, yesterday, I did a three hour live showing live footage of what was going on, all the information that was coming out about that attack on the crowd that was on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Okay, so you can go back and watch those videos, but I do have the latest update on that attack, and I'm going to show you those videos. It's about two videos I'm going to show you. His family is speaking out, and so I'm going to go ahead and bring it to you guys. Um, so this is what we're going to be talking about. And the information will be down in my description box below my video. The information for the credit for the video that we'll be watching. The first video will be with the National Desk, New Orleans terror attack, suspect's brother. Family is blindsided and devastated. I'm quite sure they are just like everybody else. But yeah, let me just say prayers go up to the families that was affected by this senseless act. Okay? And he is no longer living. He had a shootout with the police, and he is unalive as of now. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and bring that to you guys now. All right?
I'm still shocked by the whole thing. It still doesn't seem like it actually happened.
14 people dead and dozens of others injured after a truck plows through New Year's Eve celebrations on New Orleans' Bourbon and Canal streets. 24-year-old Abdur Jabbar assumed someone was having mental health issues or was angry. He didn't think the driver would be his own brother.
I just dropped my phone and crawled into a corner somewhere and started crying.
With an 18-year age gap, Jabbar says he and his brother, 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, weren't always close, but had grown closer since their father suffered a stroke in 2023.
He was coming around a little more often to check on him, and if there's anything he needed.
Jabbar says his brother was kind, caring, and compassionate, a description completely opposite to how the world has come to know him. Since the deadly attack, the FBI has found evidence Shamsuddin talked about killing his family as well.
That's unbelievable, honestly. I can't imagine him doing anything like that.
Jabbar says his brother only returned home to Beaumont 2 or 3 times a year. The last time the siblings saw one another was 6 months ago.
Everything was just how he had always been with me and around the rest of his family, you know, full of love, well-mannered, well-tempered, helpful.
While the family's imam says Shamsuddin seemed different, Jabbar says he showed no signs of the acts he would commit on New Year's Day.
He grew out his beard and he became more modest in his dressing. Nobody's seen anything like this coming.
Jabbar says he isn't sure when his brother may have become radicalized, but it isn't something his family condones or believes in.
This is completely out of character for him, you know, these actions. And they're also not any type of representation of what it means to be a Muslim.
Jabbar says his brother's actions aren't the essence of who he was, but it is a legacy he leaves behind. In Beaumont Reporting, I'm Sydney Ferguson.
Okay, guys. Okay, that's the first video. All right. And his family did speak out, his brother and everything. Just because he grew his beard, I think they did know something was going on. You know, but anyway, that's just my personal opinion. Just because he grew his beard out and he started dressing modestly, okay? I'm quite sure somebody asked what's going on or had a question, but they say they didn't, okay? So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get to the next video. All right. This is the last video for you all. This is Channel 4 News. New Orleans attacker was acting alone, says the FBI. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the second video. And let me just say again, that information from both videos will be down in my description box below my video. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. Let me just let this play out.
Breaking news.
Tonight, new photos of the Bourbon Street attacker. The FBI just released these images. They show Shamsuddin Jabbar just an hour before he drove a truck along the crowded Bourbon Street, and they're asking for anyone with any information to call the tip line.
Meanwhile, we have live team coverage for you tonight as that famous street reopens to visitors. The Superdome opens to Sugar Bowl fans, and officials are working to learn more about what led to the attack. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm Katie Moore.
And I'm Sharice Gibson. It has been a very difficult start to the new year here in New Orleans. Earlier this afternoon, bars and restaurants along Bourbon Street reopened. Right now, the FBI is saying they do believe the suspect acted alone.
And we are learning more about those killed and injured in the attack. Our coverage begins tonight with Lily Cummings, who has more about what investigators are saying today. Lily?
Katie and Sharice, Bourbon Street is now open to pedestrians, and Canal Street, where I'm standing, is bustling. Just take a look behind me at the extra safety measures that have been put into place to keep folks safe. You can see a large armored vehicle. That is Homeland Security, and beyond them, you have JPSO directly blocking off Bourbon with a truck that they use during hurricanes, making a stronger barricade. Now, we were here this afternoon as Canal reopened. Cars were allowed to travel lake and riverbound starting around 2 p.m. 2 hours later, the Canal streetcar came back online. And then earlier today, the FBI gave big updates in their investigation. First, we learned that they now believe the suspect acted alone. We also found out that 2 explosive devices were found in the French Quarter in connection with this attack. Now, agents were able to disable them. After that press conference, NOPD Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick was on Canal. She shared they installed large metal blockades on Bourbon that prevent driving on the sidewalk. The chief was asked if she was upset that they weren't in place the night of the attack. Listen to her response.
It's not a matter of being upset. This is not a matter of pointing blame anywhere. A terrorist is hell-bent on destruction. This man was going to do his best. And if it hadn't been on Bourbon, he was going to go somewhere else.
Now, we also told you yesterday that investigators were looking for 4 suspects. They are no longer looking for those individuals. They told us that because there was footage going around that showed those folks looking at the coolers where they found some of those explosive devices. But the FBI said in that update today that these folks appear to just have been looking at those coolers, checking them out after they were placed. Reporting live from Canal Street, Lily Cummings, WWL Louisiana.
All right, an important distinction there. Thanks so much, Lily. Investigators are continuing to piece together evidence on the suspect who committed the attack, Shamsuddin Jabbar.
The FBI and local law enforcement says he's a U.S. citizen from Texas and an Army veteran who came to New Orleans looking to kill. Our chief investigative reporter, David Hammer, joining us now in studio. David, what do we know about Jabbar's history?
Yeah, we're learning so much more about Shamsuddin Jabbar. Yesterday, we were able to speak with Army veterans who served with Jabbar and knew him as a kind, intelligent, and talented IT specialist about 15 years ago. But now we're learning about his mounting personal and financial difficulties that may have just pushed him to the breaking point. Records from Texas and Georgia show Jabbar was divorced 3 times, in 2012, in 2016, and the last time in 2020. That last case was very contentious. Financial records from 2022 showed Jabbar with mounting debts, and his ex-wife alleged he committed fraud in payments to her and their child. The divorce wasn't settled until just a few months ago, with Jabbar telling his ex-wife's attorney he was facing foreclosure. And a year and a half ago, Jabbar moved into this compound in Houston in a tight-knit community of devout Muslims. This morning, a neighbor who did not want to be shown on camera talked to our sister station, KHOU.
When he comes in, he was Muslim. As a Muslim, I didn't know what happened to him before. I didn't know anything before, what his background was. He was in the military. I learned anything just everybody else learning as well. Now I know he was a nice, quiet neighbor. He won't bother. I know my kids are handful. They sometimes scream, but he won't be bothered.
The FBI Deputy Assistant Director Christopher Reyes says that sometime before this summer, Jabbar started professing allegiance to the Islamic State terror group ISIS. Reyes said at a press conference this morning that Jabbar posted videos on social media this week saying he wanted to kill his family, but that wouldn't create enough headlines about the, quote, war between the believers and disbelievers. So he rented the white pickup truck, drove from Houston to New Orleans on Wednesday, rented the Airbnb on Mandeville Street, set up the coolers with the pipe bombs in the French Quarter, and gunned the truck down Bourbon Street. And for now, the FBI believes he was acting alone. Katie?
All right, much more to come. Thanks so much, David. And right now, we do know the names of 9 out of the 14 people who tragically lost their lives while celebrating the new year. 18-year-old Nkaira Cheyenne Dido from Gulfport. She was visiting with her cousin and her friend. St. Thomas More alum and Princeton football star Martin Tiger Besh, and Nicole Perez, who was a mother from Metairie.
Reggie Hunter, who was told, or we're told rather, was visiting New Orleans from Baton Rouge on a whim. 21-year-old Archbishop Shaw alum Hubert Gothrow and University of Alabama student Kareem Bawadi, who we do not have a picture of just yet. Auburn University alum Drew Dolphin, 25-year-old account executive Billy DeMaio, and Superdome audiovisual technician Matthew Tenedorio.
Whitney Miller spoke with Tenedorio's mother earlier today. She's remembering him for his, quote, laid-back spirit and infectious laughter.
Whitney, we know that conversation was difficult.
Yeah, it was really difficult. Matthew Tinadorio was out celebrating the new year with friends on Bourbon Street when he got separated from his friends that he was with. He worked as an audiovisual tech at the Superdome, and his mother tells me everywhere that he went, he did not know a stranger. Matthew was the youngest of 3 and a graduate of Pearl River Central. His mother says thankfully he spent most of New Year's Eve with his family in Slidell.
It was just a very fun time, relaxing, loving, and then around 9:30, oh, we're gonna head off. We're gonna head into New Orleans. So we just all hugged each other and gave each other, a big love you, Happy New Year. See you, talk to you tomorrow. Please text me when you get home, kind of stuff. My husband tried to tell him, please, just son, don't go and stay here. Don't, no, Dad, so anyway, that was that. And then we didn't hear from him.
Yeah, she went on to tell me that trying to figure out where he was and what happened to him was a complete nightmare. Tonight at 10, she'll share more about her son and this whole experience.
Whitney, thank you so much. I know that was a heartbreaking conversation. And earlier today, local leaders walked down Bourbon Street and held a vigil to honor those victims. NOPD Chief Ann Kirkpatrick, Mayor Cantrell, local ministers, and Archbishop Gregory Amond held a second line and placed 14 yellow roses for each of those killed.
A short time after that vigil, the street was cleaned and cleared and reopened.
It was a very active crime scene yesterday, but now people are back in the bars and restaurants there. Amelia Strahan joining us with more. Amelia, how does it look tonight?
Katie and Sharice, for the first time since that attack, it's starting to sound a little more like normal on Bourbon Street. I'm sure you can hear the music playing. The crowds are returning. Really, since they opened that street at 2 o'clock, the crowds did not hesitate to come back. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can get a quick look at Bourbon Street. Now, this is a little closer to Canal. If you go further down, the crowds are a lot more dense, and we're expecting them to get even denser as the night goes on and the Sugar Bowl crowds make their way down to Bourbon Street. You can probably see the flashing lights. That is still just one little shot of the heavy police presence that's still down here on Bourbon Street. But I mean, as soon as they opened it up today, the people immediately started walking down. And I think it is because of that law enforcement presence, it made people feel safer. But since that attack early New Year's Day, investigators have been the only people allowed on Bourbon Street. So it is encouraging to see it starting, to look a little more like normal. And of course, there are mixed emotions about this reopening. This comes just after the attack. So the people that are, working at these businesses, they are still, experiencing a little bit of fear from what we're hearing from them. We saw employees holding hands, praying. I know you showed video just a few moments ago of that vigil. So still, while sounding joyful and sounding a little more back to normal, still a very difficult day for many people down here. We actually spoke to Sheriff Susan Hudson just before they opened Bourbon Street today, and she described a difficult few days for her staff, but says she and other law enforcement agencies are ready to keep New Orleans safe.
People said the veterans who've been here for years are like, I've never seen anything like that. Community, it's about our visitors, it's about us. And so we feel good about the plan in place. You can see all the personnel here. We've got federal, state, local law enforcement here, our first responders from EMS and fire, just tremendous efforts.
And of course, we're so grateful to our law enforcement out here doing a very important job during a very difficult time. We're going to keep you updated as we stay out here on Bourbon Street this evening. We'll see you guys back here at 6:30. Reporting live from Bourbon Street, Amelia Strahan, WWL, Louisiana.
Okay, guys. Thank you for being patient while I get that second video out to you and everything. And I do want to say that my heart, and I know everyone's heart, go out to all the victims, all the people the families that was affected by the loss. And I did not know they was going to show their pictures, that they had pictures of the ones that was that was unalive by this tragedy. And we watched it together. And that video, I have not seen neither one of the videos completely. And that helped me to keep track of what's going on, as I help you all to keep track as well. And I will be bringing more as I can. I'll be bringing more out to you. All right. So, only thing I can say is this was awful. Not a good way to start the new year out, with someone committing a huge unaliving of people like this. All right, guys, make sure you hit the like button. All right, if you can do that for me, go ahead and hit the like button to keep me in the algorithm, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, guys, and you all have a good evening. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.